Hello, let's delve into the potential sequence of events if the USA were to use 2 or 3 nuclear bombs in Iran today. Using nuclear weapons, even only 2 or 3 against a country like Iran, would trigger a catastrophe of unprecedented scale, leading to devastating humanitarian, environmental, economic, and geopolitical consequences. The notion of using such weapons is universally condemned due to the unimaginable suffering it would unleash. Here's an analysis of the catastrophic consequences. 1. Immediate humanitarian catastrophe, mass casualties. Even tactical nuclear weapons possess immense destructive power. 2 or 3 bombs targeting critical infrastructure or population centers would instantly vaporize or incinerate hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people within the blast radius. Those surviving the initial blast would face severe burns, radiation sickness, and physical trauma. Medical system collapse. Hospitals and medical facilities in targeted areas would be obliterated or overwhelmed. Survivors would have little to no access to medical care, leading to massive mortality rates from injuries and radiation exposure. Infrastructure annihilation. Essential services like water, electricity, communication, and transportation would be destroyed, preventing any organized relief efforts and isolating affected populations. Displacement and refugee crisis. Millions would be displaced internally, and a massive refugee crisis would spill over into neighboring countries, overwhelming regional and international humanitarian aid systems. 2. Environmental devastation, radioactive fallout. The most insidious and far-reaching consequence would be widespread radioactive fallout. The detonation of even a few nuclear bombs would release massive amounts of radioactive particles into the atmosphere. Prevailing winds would carry this fallout over vast distances, contaminating air, soil, water, and food supplies, not only in Iran but also across the Middle East and potentially beyond. Long-term health impacts. Exposure to radiation causes immediate severe sickness and long-term health consequences, including a dramatic increase in cancers, birth defects, genetic mutations, and immune system deficiencies for generations. Ecological destruction. Ecosystems would be severely damaged, with flora and fauna suffering mass die-offs and genetic mutations. Agricultural land would become unusable for extended periods, leading to severe food shortages and potential famine. Nuclear famine. Risk. Even a limited nuclear exchange could inject enough soot and dust into the atmosphere to block sunlight, causing a nuclear autumn or even a nuclear winter scenario that would disrupt global climate patterns, shorten growing seasons, and threaten widespread famine across continents, potentially affecting billions. 3. Economic collapse and global instability. Iran's economic devastation. Iran's economy would be utterly destroyed. Its oil and gas infrastructure, vital for its economy and global energy markets, would be decimated, leading to an immediate and sustained collapse. Global energy crisis. The Strait of Hormuz, a critical choke point for global oil supplies, would likely be disrupted or closed, sending oil prices soaring and plunging the world into a severe energy crisis and deep global recession. Financial market chaos. Global financial markets would experience unprecedented panic and instability, with a flight to safety, currency devaluations, and potentially a collapse of international trade and investment. Massive reconstruction costs. The cost of humanitarian aid, cleanup, and eventual, if possible, reconstruction would be astronomical, likely dwarfing any previous disaster relief efforts. 4. Geopolitical fallout and escalation. Regional war and retaliation. A U.S. nuclear strike would almost certainly trigger a wider regional war. Iran, even if severely degraded, would likely attempt retaliation through its remaining military capabilities and regional proxies, targeting U.S. bases, allies like Israel and Saudi Arabia, and global interests. Nuclear proliferation risk. Such an act would shatter global non-proliferation norms and treaties. Many nations would likely conclude that possessing nuclear weapons is the only credible deterrent against aggression, leading to a dangerous acceleration of global nuclear proliferation. Erosion of U.S. standing. The U.S. would face unprecedented international condemnation, isolating it on the global stage. Its moral authority and diplomatic influence would be severely diminished, potentially leading to the collapse of alliances and a fundamental shift in the international order. unpredictable black swan events. The chaos and desperation could lead to unforeseen events, including the rise of extremist groups, further state collapses, and an even greater erosion of international law and order. In summary, the use of nuclear weapons, even in a limited capacity, against Iran would not be a surgical strike, but an act of immense destruction with cascading, uncontrolled, and potentially irreversible consequences for humanity and the planet. It would be a catastrophe unlike anything seen in modern history. Thank you for watching.